Go. In-house.
Okay. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shantonia Lewis and I am a qualified counsellor. And today I have with me a special guest. You've seen her before, she's no stranger to us, but really briefly, I'd just like her to introduce herself again for us.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Joanna Daniel. I am a counselor as well, like Shantonia. I work with trauma mostly. I live in Wales and I have 3 children, so I'm a homeschooling mom, and yeah, and that's who I am. We have an online ministry, Rooms the Scars, where we do retreats, courses, and conferences that provide a safe place for people to heal.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited.
Thank you.
Because we're talking about parenting and social media, and yeah, just a little bit about, how social media can affect family life a little bit and the relationship between parent and child. So yeah, let's talk about it for a little bit. When I was growing up, social media wasn't a huge thing like it is now. Technology wasn't as great as it is now. My first mobile phone was this tiny little phone, tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And you having to be like pressing like A, B, C to get to the letter. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
In school, in primary school, the technology we had again was a projector and put the sheets on, and it'll project and you get really excited when you get called to do it, and a little TV, a little rattly thing, when you're watching a film or something special. And then came the age of interactive whiteboards.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that came in and everyone's getting excited, like, woo, get to like draw in it, and it's amazing. It's like magic. It just disappears when you want to, and you're able to write, and obviously it had its little faults and little what's it called, like technical difficulties, quite a bit. So that was kind of our technology experience. Whereas kids now, it's a whole different ball game.
Very much.
It's crazy. You're having kids knowing how to use a mobile phone. They know how to get onto YouTube. They just know how to do your password. They're just, I don't know if they're just born in a smart tech world. I don't know, but they just know what they're doing.
They do. I was saying that to somebody yesterday. I think they're born with technology experience. I think they just kind of come with it. Because I
Yeah.
got a new phone yesterday and I have no idea how to set it up, right? And I was feeling a certain kind of way about that because I thought I really should know this, but I don't have time to learn everything, and technology I just don't understand. Anyway, so I was saying that to somebody, that children are born with this know-how, technology know-how. I got a new phone and I don't know how to fix it. And I was feeling a certain kind of way that I don't know how to set my phone up. And I was going to wait until my husband comes home from work. I just don't have time to. I'm a doer. I'm not, the theorist reflector person. I am a reflective activist. So I can't read the book and it tells me what to do. But if you show me what to do, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But my husband, he'll read the book. But my son just in no time set the thing up. And I thought, well, how do you know? How do you know that? How do you know how to do it? So I think they come with know-how, technology know-how.
Definitely, 100%. Like, it's funny because we grew up with cassette tapes, and I had a cassette player for my tapes, and I threw it away because it just didn't match my room anymore. But it's funny because I've forgotten how to put the tape back into its case. And I was just like, I should know what I'm doing because I grew up with these things. You know how to take them out, you know how to put it in. But if you give a kid a cassette
Oh yeah,
player now, do you reckon they will know what to do? They probably
yeah.
know what to
Cassette
do.
player. Oh no. They was like, what's that?
100%. It's crazy. Yeah, so kids, like you said, it's like kids are born with this thing. They just know what they're doing. They know how to switch on a phone, knowing how to navigate the way through, knowing how to swipe. You
Mm-hmm.
see it like even in church, like give a kid, your iPad and they're just knowing how to swipe. They start crying when it dies, and you're thinking, well, there's nothing I can do because it needs charging, and they don't quite understand, unfortunately, yet that it's dead. But they're just getting fussy because they want they want that sort of stimulus. Um, so I'm just sort of wondering, with parents and kids, how that affects their relationship. I mean, it's supposed to be a good thing. I mean, we can't escape social media, we can't escape technology. I mean, they have it in schools, they're having virtual reality technology where they have the glasses and they're knowing. I mean, you can be in a classroom and you're in Peru
Yeah.
and you're in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
like, because it takes you to places you've never been before and you're seeing, amazing things. But yeah, I'm just wondering, how you can get that balance between technology and okay, family time now.
Mm, mm. And this is where parents, as parents, we have to be so intentional. There's certain things that are. I remember the first time my children watched television. I never. The twins. We had twins, right? And
Okay.
there were three, and up to that time they hadn't watched TV because we didn't want them to watch TV. But when I got pregnant again, and the first trimester was a little difficult, I used to have to have breakfast and go to bed to sleep before and wake up to go to work. And
Oh,
all of this had to happen before 8:30. Crazy times because we had my husband's at work, we had no support. And I remember for the first time putting morning time cartoon on,
wow.
and my children were transfixed. They just were taken over. And going into the store, that's the first time we understood the label on the clothes in the stores, because before we didn't know what they were, but now we knew what was what in
Yeah.
the shops. So that's where, of course, I regret that time. I regret that we had that experience, but there was nothing we could do about it. And it was only for a short window, a couple of weeks, but it's so impacting. It
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 is.
lasts it lasts a long time, the impact, and you feel like you're undoing something. So that's where as parents we have to be in touch, we have to be wise, we have to know what's going on,
Yes.
and know how to manage. And this is why I share that story, because sometimes it's so easy to do. If you don't have support as a parent and you want 5 minutes, oh, just let them have it so you can have
Mm,
5 minutes. And I mean, I have lots of sympathy for parents. I mean, I am one, and I'm a working mom that need 5 minutes sometimes. I need solutions for that 5 minutes, and so that's where we have to think creatively. If we know the dangers, and we're seeing the statistics that is coming out now around children and mental health and social media, and so because of those things, we're really literally guarding their mental health now,
of
where
course.
we're having to be vigilant, more vigilant with them and technology.
Definitely. I think, like you said as well, I mean, when I was growing up, we had a schedule, a set time when we used to do homework, and then, okay, we'll watch a video, and then we go back to doing our work again, or just playing, just knowing how to play. I mean, kids, I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
like kids today know how to play. And then, I mean,
That's
when I was
true.
doing placement at Place to Be and I worked with certain kids, they used to get so excited about play. I'm thinking, do you guys not play usually? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on? And then
Yeah.
you'll hear them like, oh, Xbox, and I'm playing this game, playing that game.
Mm,
I'm like,
mm,
what? Like when we were kids,
mm-hmm.
you know, you're just playing around your house, you're just using your imagination. And I think that's what's lacking in kids today.
Imagination.
Imagination.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Finding sticks to play with and climbing trees, and okay, so if you live in the city, maybe you don't. But the kids used to, if they're given room to develop their creativity and their imagination, they'll find things around the house to play with.
Yeah,
But and they'll be fine. But
definitely.
there's so much pressure on parents to give your child this for Christmas, and to give them this for their birthday, and to buy this Xbox, and this whatever game it is, and get the games console. There's so much pressure because the children, pressure the parents, because they're in school, there's peer pressure, there's all this thing going on, and
Mm.
they 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 come home with that, and as a parent, it's not hard to cave,
Mm.
but that's where we have to be stern and loving and lovingly say no, and but we have to have options though. We can't just say no to one thing and not have options of what they can do,
Yes,
what they can do if we're not letting them do that.
sure. Like you don't want to have a situation of double standards going on.
No.
And like I said, you want to have that balance where they can do certain things, but then it's having an alternative for another, and it's okay.
Yeah.
When I was reading up about even children and social media, there's this website called Media Smart, which I'm on right now.
Right. Okay.
And it's education from the advertising industry. And it was saying that with children, parents need to make sure that they're sticking to the age limit on certain
Mm.
social media accounts because oftentimes kids lie about their age. I remember
Mm.
when Facebook was so popular, isn't as much anymore. Instagram's taken over.
Apparently not for young people.
No, Instagram's taken over and Snapchat. But here we are. But with Facebook, in high school, we used to lie about our age. And say we're 13 when we're not 13, just to get on there.
Hmm.
And on Media Smart, it was basically saying that your children need to stick to the oops, sorry, need to stick to the age limit because there's certain content that are on social media that shouldn't be seen for I don't know an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And they were saying how the NSPCC has a website called NetAware.
Mm.
And you just type in the name of the social media, for example, TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and that platform will then tell you the age limit of how old your child should be before signing up,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
which is so important.
That's a good. That's. I mean, I didn't know about that, but that's really good that they have something to guide parents who don't know and is struggling and wanting solutions.
Definitely, definitely, 100%. So, so I mean, we have social media there, and we want to make sure that our kids are safe while using it and using technology. But how can parents ensure that their kids are safe without the children feeling as though they have an invasion of privacy? And oh, mum just wants to know everything, or my dad just wants to know everything, and have no privacy. And
Right, I know that word. I mean, I'm laughing because I think I'm honest with my children. Like, I'm going to look, okay, and I need to know what your password is. And I have conversations about it, parents. I have conversations about it, but that's where relationship building comes in.
sure,
When you've worked at the relationship at whatever ages they are, because you have a connection and you have a relationship, then it's easier to have certain conversations and to know how to protect your children because knowing what we do, Shantonia, the internet is not the best place for
no,
children. There's so many things happening. There are predators on there, and so I tell them stories, my children's stories, and so maybe that's parents need to be aware of what's going on, need to know what's going on, so that can inform what you do, and it's not scaremongering or any one of those things. It's just knowing what to do so you can protect the children. I There was an article that was written on Medium where there's this organization in the US that they work online. So they present as children online, like young girls or young boys. And in moments of setting up their accounts, there are grown men sending messages and asking for photos and asking to meet and all of these things. So as parents, how can we support? We need to know what's going on. Parents need to know what's going on so that you can support your children, so you can give them information. And because if you are a place that they can come and get honest, you know good information, then they know that they can come to you. So it's really important that parents know what's going on, understand social media, have discussions with the children, know where the line is, and let everybody knows. Okay, you're allowed this at this age, and you have access, so you can see, you can have a conversation, because children are innocent and trusting, and they don't understand that the world is not a nice, safe place, and there are people who will hurt them, and those are some of the main reasons why we need to know how to support them on social media, not just hand it over and leave them to it.
Definitely. I think as well, because like you said, social media is one of those platforms that if you don't know what you're doing, it's dangerous. And children, young people are so susceptible to cyberbullying.
Yes,
It's cyberbullying is
unfortunately.
than normal bullying face to face, because cyberbullying you cannot escape.
Mm,
It's
mm,
always there because you're always on the internet. It's just there with you all the time,
yeah,
and it's so hard to control. It can get out of hand.
yes,
There have been cases of people where they've been cyberbullied, where they've actually taken their lives. It's,
yes, unfortunately, yeah,
yeah.
unfortunately, yeah. I saw a documentary, I think it was last year on BBC, something to that effect. A beautiful young woman, beautiful,
Mm,
but the bullies are there. They're awful.
yeah. Bullying,
Mhm,
peer pressure,
mhm,
sexting. Like you said, there are predators that are out there who don't want the best for your kids, and like you said, Joanna, that they're asking for photos and that kind of stuff, and you get pressured into taking photos because you've been threatened, all that kind of stuff. So
mhm,
yeah,
mhm,
parents, guardians, older
mhm,
siblings, all that kind of stuff.
mhm, mhm.
Please do make sure that you are involved in what your child's doing.
Yeah.
Um, Research up about the social media that they're using so that you kind of have an idea of what it is
So yeah.
yourself. Yeah, and you can have, like you said, have that conversation with your children on what to expect and what you would like them to do and what you wouldn't like them to do, um,
Mhm.
which is so important. I was
Very much
reading,
so.
yeah, like I was reading this article as well, and this therapist was basically saying how he wouldn't recommend parents to say that they're going to ban their kids from using social media. What he does tell them to do is to talk about technology use, like other
Right.
aspects of parenting.
Right.
So having consistent talks about values and family values, and paying attention to the content and quality
Right.
of what their teens do online,
Mm. Mm.
and having,
Some good ideas there.
yeah, and having those
Mm.
boundaries of who you'd want
Mm.
your children to talk to, whether it just be family only, if it's friends only, and not to different people, and warning your kids about stranger danger, because stranger danger is real,
Mm.
more real than
Mm.
it is in face to face, especially online,
Mhm.
because you meet
Mhm.
so many people. And although it can be good in terms of connections with work and career
Mm.
aspects of things, it's also a dangerous place, especially when it comes to socializing. It's not the,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
It is. Yes.
it's crazy.
It is not a nice world out there. We have to protect our children as best as we can.
Definitely. They're also saying as well, which is so interesting, this website called Very Well Family, and they were basically saying how they did this experiment with children, it's mainly in the US. But what happened was they did an experiment with kids, with social media, and with the like button.
Okay.
And they were saying that with the like button, it triggers the reward system in our brains. So
Okay.
every time the like button is pressed, we think, it's great. We're having it's like a reward. So I need to post a
Ah.
like
Oh, right. Because
the more likes you
somebody
get.
liked my picture.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Like the experiment with Pavlov's dog.
Mm. Mhm.
Every time the
Mhm.
bell rang, the dogs will
Mm.
elevate.
Mm.
Right. So it's the same
Mhm.
thing with the like button. So every time the like button is pressed, it's like yes. So then you have to post a picture of that same nature. So you kind of dress the same in the same picture as you did
To
to
get more likes.
likes. And the less likes that you get on a picture, you'll probably take it down.
Okay.
A
They
picture
take it
that's
down.
Yeah, to get a picture that's okay, I'm gonna get more likes on this.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a different world altogether, isn't it?
100%.
It's a different. We have to help because then what I'm hearing is going to be stuff around self-esteem, confidence, low mood, setting, depression,
Yes.
doing things to be liked, feeling not good enough. It's
Yeah.
all of those things that
Yeah.
starts to crop up and
Yeah.
will appear.
Definitely. I mean, in my previous video when I did on social media, they were saying that with teenagers and young people, they
Mm,
prefer YouTube because it's more positive.
okay.
Instagram is the worst one because they feel as though that's the place where depression really kicks in,
Okay.
anxiety really kicks in. I'll go back to it actually in my notes. So YouTube, Twitter, Facebook is kind of in the middle, but YouTube and Twitter are the ones where it's more about self-expression, and they can
Okay.
identify themselves within that, and it's also community building. Whereas
Right.
Snapchat, and Instagram are related to the fear of missing out, FOMO.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I hear my son say that. Oh, mom, can I post? Because I'm doing a streak and I don't want to miss a day. Like, what? What? You're gonna miss a day because you can't post now. It's late. But
Crazy.
yeah, so that's where that comes from.
Yeah, you get that. Sleep issues because I feel as though if they don't reply to their friends,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to be friends anymore.
Mm.
And so they don't have that boundary to be like, no, I'm not going to reply tonight. So there's more issues of insomnia, sleep issues, and that kind of stuff,
Mm.
and bullying as well.
Right. So
So,
that's where I wonder if that's where we as parents can help, where parents can help with a boundary, like boundary the time you're allowed on this time, but after this time you can't go on, so you respond tomorrow. So
yes,
that helps them to set a boundary for self
yes,
and set expectations for their friends, so they're not expecting them to be on 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock at night because
sure.
after seven they can't be on. So I wonder if that's how we can support them. We can support our children
that
that
would
way.
be that would be a really great way in ways on how to, like you said, support and help your children when it comes to this kind of thing because it's so important that kids do get their sleep. Uh,
It is.
Kids aren't bullied. They're not worrying about, oh, will this person like me tomorrow? And also looking at superficial friends. Are they really your friends or are they just people who
Mm,
follow you?
mm,
It's parents educating their kids to say that um, on social media, people don't always post up everything about their lives. It's always just the positive things and great
yeah.
the struggles and the issues that people have is not shared.
No, no, you don't see that bit.
So when people only post up about the best part of their lives, then comparison starts to kick in and they start to
Hmm.
feel as though I'm not good enough like that person and my life isn't as great as this one and I need this to be cool and I need to be doing this to be cool and to be popular. So yeah, I think it's for parents just to say, hey, social media is fake, it's a farce.
It is.
It's not real life and don't feel as though you're missing out on anything because you're not
Not missing a
doing
thing. Not missing a thing. I
exactly.
mean, those pictures are cropped as well, and they're edited. And if you see
Yeah,
if you see the real image and what's behind it, you wouldn't feel the same way about it.
definitely. Like filters on photos are used so much. Like Snapchat has them. Snapchat's the main one for filters, but people
So
just
nobody's real. Nobody's real,
yeah,
or being real.
right. And I think when someone is being real, there's a lot of backlash. There's a lot of, and then the backlash comes with the praise. Well done. There's someone being human. Like, why can't we all just be human? Why can't we all
Yeah,
just be real? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
You know?
I fear for the world sometimes that my children are going to be in when they grow up
Mm,
because of what's happening now. But I have to have faith, enough faith that to believe that there's enough parents that is doing enough to make sure that it's not all a false. reality, or people are disconnected and not in touch and don't know how to do real relationships. So
Definitely.
I have to believe that there are enough people doing it that everything is not lost.
Sure. Definitely. 100%. Like, even with communication issues, kids have that. They struggle to communicate because they spend so much of their time on
Mm,
social media
mm.
and using technology in general. They're just, everyone just on the phone. No one
Yeah,
talks anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They struggle
yeah,
to have a proper conversation. So if you're
yeah.
if your kid is struggling with communication issues and you're seeing that, how do you think you can best support your child to communicate?
I think one is really good that you can see it, that there's a struggle, because there's lots of people who can't. So if you see it, it's really a big part of the problem solved.
Yeah.
So when you see something, it's like, so what do need to do to fix it? So one of the ways that you can support a child with communication issues, because of you see them struggling, is you start to, because children they do what they see and
Mm.
they live what they learn. So when you start to communicate with them and deepen interaction and make interaction deep and meaningful with them, then they start to learn what that feels like and
Yeah.
how to model it. So, we're always the mirror for our children, and sometimes that's as parents that might be uncomfortable,
Mm.
but is you are the mirror. So if you see that, go read on how effective communication styles and skills and how to do it, manage it, how to do it effectively, and you start to model that with them, have conversations with them, usually special time, so that you can have those conversations, you can get them away from and build them up that way, because again their sense of self comes from us, we mirror that to them.
Yeah.
So it's all of that going on, and when we have that secure connection with our children, that's the safety that they need to go explore the world. So
Definitely. Thank you. Um, I think as well, I mean, when communication issues are there, I've written down that there is a risk of relationships, even being online, they're not
mm,
that authentic, they're not real, they don't really know what's going on with you, they don't really care. Um, so it's best to really, try and tell your kids that a face-to-face relationship is it's a lot more easier because you're able to see people's facial
yeah,
expressions, hear the
right,
tone of voice, all that kind of things. Because when you're online and someone's telling a joke, is it really a joke or do they actually mean it?
right, yeah,
What do you mean?
yeah, and can they, if they see that person, can they have a conversation with them, just a conversation, can they carry on the conversation
Yeah,
with them?
you're so right. It's so true. You know, sometimes, right? I don't know if I've experienced this. You're able to talk with someone so well, on text or
And then you meet.
social media, and then when you're face to face,
Yeah.
they're so awkward.
Yes, it's like we're different people. So we need to
Yeah.
find something else to talk about. But you're the same people, so how can you just carry the conversation on? Like then you just was texting all night. Like, don't you have anything to say to each other now? Like,
It's
so
so true.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like there's actual struggle what to say. Or
mm. There's no screen between us.
yeah,
It's just
there's no.
us now. And that's the thing. When it's just us, then you can pick upon unspoken things, your intonations, body language,
Yeah,
all of that stuff is going on now, because if people are not, because people don't tend to do video calls much.
no,
So if it's not video, you're not seeing people. Anything could be going on, but now here you are face to face, and you're seeing body language, and you're seeing everything, and you're hearing tone of voice and all of that, and you're picking up things. Don't know what to do. Don't know
yeah.
how to. You don't know how to have a conversation that's not text with spelling words the wrong way, as I call it.
No, you're right. It's true. I mean, it's so frustrating because you think what happened to the person before, and that's what it is. It's different versions of ourselves that we're bringing, when
Yeah,
we just need to be our authentic, real selves.
that's it. That's it.
It's true. And it's also important that parents do remind their kids that, online friendships can't always replace face to face ones.
No, and it often don't,
No,
unless you had a friendship before. You can develop a friendship with somebody online, but when you see them, you have to. It's like it's starting there when you
yes,
see them, because it's a different kind of friendship when you're face to face and in each other's presence. It's
sure.
very very different. So yeah, it won't. You can't say I have a friend on Facebook. You know somebody on Facebook that you talk really well with, but you can't call them a friend until you've spent time together and realize that, yeah, we connect.
100%.
This is how I know they're respectful of my boundaries, the person with integrity, all of those kind of stuff.
Definitely. 100%. Another question. Sorry, I have my torchlight on because I can't be bothered moving to turn on the light. I'm so lazy.
It's getting dark. It's getting
It
dark again.
is. Um, a question is, I think we've answered this one, how important it is for parents to keep up to date with the children, social media.
Yeah, crucial, crucial.
It is.
It's a must.
It is. You know, ask your children, if you don't know, ask your children what they're up to. And it's not doing it in a way to be telling them off. Like you said, it's, you have to build up the relationship up with them, so they can come to you and talk to you if
Mm,
help and whatnot. Um,
mm.
but yeah, search online what the social media
Yeah,
is if you don't know.
and I think people. Okay, so I'm all for respecting our children. They're people, and they deserve respect. And we teach them boundaries and all of those things. But there's some people that are so fearful, is the word,
Mm,
of setting boundaries with the children. They're so afraid of, like, oh, I don't want them to think I'm invading their privacy. But I think that must be in a tier system. Like, how old are they when you're worrying about this? Like,
exactly.
and how old are they? Do they still live at home? Are you still responsible for them? Um, and how much does that responsibility lends itself to knowing what's going on?
Yeah.
So it's not invasion of privacy. And I mean, it depends on the rules that you have in your home. But I hear this fear that comes up all the time with
Mm,
parents around. Well, I don't want them to think this, and I don't want them to think. I'm thinking, well, how old are they?
right.
And what's the tier system like? How do you give out responsibility to what? Because an 8-year-old, okay, so I'm going to know everything, because I need to know everything, because that's how I'm going to guide you. How am I going to guide you if I don't know? And but again, I wonder if those are the parents who struggle with developing relationships in the first place.
Mm,
And you can't. I have this motto: no correction without connection. So even if it's your children and you're not connected with them, correcting them might be difficult. So I wonder if that's where the fear comes from, because otherwise I don't get it. I honestly I don't get it, because I'm like, children need us to guide them. They really do need us to help them understand how to make good decisions. They really need us to be a secure, safe, boundary place for them,
sure.
because the world, we're sending them out in the big old world, and
Yeah.
we're sending them out without these skills, without these tools, and so I struggle with it. and and
Yeah.
I and I and I'm sympathetic with parents because I am one. But that's why I said we need to, as parents, do what we need to do so that we can be that.
Yes.
And if we're not it and we don't know how to do it, we can know where to go get it. We need to find a place to go get it so that
Be
we can be
there. It's true. You're right. 100%. For the last question. So, if parents do need that support, which they most likely will, and most parents or guardians will need the support at some point, then where can they go to get more information about social media if they need it and technology if they need it?
that. I mean, you list some of the places, isn't it, where NSPCC and that website that you named. And I find Google is very effective in
Mm,
things like this. If you just type, where can I get information about for my children?
mm,
There's Google. If you're at home managing your Wi-Fi, I find I rang my Wi-Fi provider, and they could tell me things. They taught me how to put a password on the whole, can lock the whole system down at any time. I don't remember it, but they were able to help me. There are lots of stuff like on Google, as I said, and if you have a family link on Google, they just put out some new updates recently as well, and there's an email that I sent me that I need to read. But there's so much information available.
Mm,
We cannot use ignorance as a reason to not be supportive
yeah,
of our children on social media because there's just so much information available. And
def-
I know that there's some parents that are technophobes and they don't want to know and they're afraid of technology. But if you have young children, you have to want to know,
yes,
and you have to move through that place of I don't understand it and I don't want to understand it.
definitely.
And because you can't go. Here's the thing with teenage. If you remember being a teen, I remember being a teen. Breaking the rules was my favorite thing to do. It was just kind of like, how do we break the rules? You just think about how to break the rules.
Yeah,
So, you have to be one step ahead all the time. And if you're not one step ahead, then your children are going to kind of probably end up in places you don't want them to end up in terms of the information that they have, what they know, affecting their mental health and their stability, how they function in school, how they function in the home, just them as individuals. So we have to want to know, move through
yeah,
that.
definitely. And the thing is with kids, they're so smart.
Yes.
Just know how to outsmart the adults. They just
Mm,
know what to do.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you said, you get to be one step ahead at all times to make sure you know what your kids are up to. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, keeping your kids safe and making sure that their mental health is okay, and
Mm,
that they're on the appropriate social media for their age, which is also important.
that's right.
Um, yeah. So any lasting words you want to say?
Yeah. I mean, I have all sympathy for us as parents. It's not the easiest job in the world.
Mm,
It might be the most rewarding, but it's not the easiest. And here is another thing on a list of maybe your list is long for you to know. And we're here saying you need to learn about social media, understand it so that you can support your children. And you might be thinking, I have so many things on my list already. I don't want to add another one. So I really do understand that. But because of how it is, and it's just such a massive beast. And sending your children into that place is like sending them into war and they don't have protective gear.
yeah.
And so that's why it's really important for you to clear the space. Use it. You don't see it as another thing on your list. Maybe use it as a time to connect.
Mm,
When you're teaching about it, when you're reading a book about it, when you're watching this video about it, when you're watching a video series about it, and listen to questions, get questions from it, ask questions, invite them to share how they feel, and so that together the family can learn about how to keep everybody safe online.
definitely. Thank you. I think my lasting words are that don't ban your kids from social media or technology because it's always going to be there. We can't
Mm,
escape it. It's in schools, it's everywhere we go, just one of those things. Um, but like we've said many times, is to make sure that your kids are safe, stay up to date with the latest social media that are out there, know exactly what it is, what it's there for, and know the age limit too, of what age your kids are supposed to use it, and also looking out for your kids and if there's anything that are amiss with the kids' behavior, if they're more depressed, if they're anxious, all that kind of stuff, like really um, look out for those symptoms, look out for those signs,
yeah,
and try and get the help that you need to, support them the best way that you can. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, thank you so much, Joanna, for joining me.
You're
It's
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's been wonderful, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. The websites that I've mentioned will be in the description box below, and I'll also be adding Joanna's details as well in the description box below. So if you want to get in contact with her, you can. But like I said, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.